Talk about a rocking start to the 2016-17 season as the Knicks will travel to the land for an opening night tilt in Cleveland. The reigning NBA champs will raise their banner, dish out the rings, and try to hold off the new-look Knicks. Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Courtney Lee, and Brandon Jennings will make their highly anticipated debut for the orange and blue as they will attempt to spoil the celebration for LeBron, Kyrie, and the crew in Cleveland. Trading places is the theme of this early November contest in Chi-Town. Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah return to the Windy City for the first time as members of the Knicks, and familiar faces on the other side, Jaren Grant and Robin Lopez, will get their first crack at New York. Adding to the intrigue is the presence of Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo in Chicago. Wade shocked the world by ditching South Beach for his hometown. The superstar power and fascinating storyline could reignite this rivalry. The home crowd will anxiously await the Garden debut for the revamped Knicks. Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Courtney Lee, and Brandon Jennings all hit the floor for the home opener against a formidable foe. Lee faces his former team, a Grizzlies squad that re-signed Mike Conley in hopes to welcome back Marc Gasol from injury. Memphis features a new weapon in Chandler Parsons, and longtime Miami assistant coach David Fizdale takes the reins as head coach. This home opener for the Knicks should delight the crowd and provide the orange and blue with a litmus test early in the 2016-17 season. The Knicks and Celtics return to their rightful place on Christmas Day. The stage is set for these two historic franchises to tango on the grand stage at the Garden. The Celtics attempting to ride last year's playoff momentum with new additions Al Horford and Gerald Green. Also keep an eye on rookie Jaylen Brown for the C's. The Knicks fans will welcome the big matchup after a one-year absence, and will get to see Kristaps Porzingis make his Christmas Day debut. How do you improve a team that set an NBA record with 73 wins and nearly captured its second straight NBA title? You go out and sign former MVP and one of the top NBA players on the planet. The Warriors lost Leandro Barbosa, Harrison Barnes, Maurice Spates, and Andrew Bogut, but landing Durant and acquiring David West should place Golden State as the prohibitive favorite to win the title. Mark your calendars to see the Splash Brothers, Durant, and the Dubs in their lone trip to the Mecca on March 5th. Lob City and NYC. The Clips make their only trip to MSG on February 8th. Los Angeles will look to make another run at the title this year, but will need a healthy Chris Paul and Blake Griffin in order to do so. Both players' injuries derailed title aspirations last season, but get your popcorn ready for what expects to be a highlight reel type of game when the high-flying Clippers head to town. One of the up-and-coming teams out west is the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we might see a big leap from the young group this season. In an interesting scheduling quirk, the Knicks square off against the Wolves twice in 3 days. The first matchup in Minnie, the second at MSG on Friday night, December 2nd. The Wolves added former Knicks big man and Minnesota native Cole Aldridge, Jordan Hill, and Brandon Rush. The team returns a talented young cast of Andrew Wiggins, Zach LaVine, Ricky Rubio, and super sophomore Karl Anthony Towns. The group will feature former Providence standout Chris Dunn in a loaded backcourt. The interest here surrounds former Bulls head coach Tom Thibodeau, facing his former pupils Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah at the Mecca. And of course, we love a chance to see Towns and Porzingis go head-to-head in what could be a future big man rivalry in the NBA. Last year, the Knicks nearly stunned the unbeaten Spurs at home with a hard-fought one-point loss. The big fundamental, Tim Duncan, called it quits this offseason, ending a legendary career, but San Antonio still possesses top-level talent, with Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard, and LaMarcus Aldridge in the fold. San Antonio retooled by acquiring two-time champ Pau Gasol and creating depth in the front court with David Lee. This matchup will conclude a brutal and quite possibly important road trip for the Knicks after facing the Clippers, Jazz, and Blazers, all prior to battling the mighty Spurs in San Antonio on March 25th. It's been quite an emotional roller coaster for the Thunder after failing to take advantage of a 3-1 series lead in last year's conference finals, and then losing former MVP Kevin Durant in free agency to the team they lost to. The Warriors received Durant, but OKC will be a threat in the West. Russell Westbrook re-upped for 3 years, and the Thunder now feature Victor Oladipo and Ersan Ilyasova after dealing Serge Ibaka. Westbrook is a man on fire, and a showdown against D. Rose and the Knicks at MSG on November 28th is must-see action. Toronto won 56 games a season ago and reached the conference finals, eventually losing to the champs in 6 games. DeMar DeRozan is back, and the Raptors inked Jared Sullinger to bolster its frontline attack. Last year, the Knicks knocked off Toronto early in the season, and this specific contest could prove to be significant for a potential push to the playoffs. This is the team that has owned the Atlantic Division crown for the last 3 years. Jeff Hornacek and New York's new look squad could be chasing a spot at the top of the division, or a necessary win with playoff implications late in the season on Sunday, April 9th. And those are your top matchups to watch for the 2016 season right here on Knicks.com.